Today we're going to learn how to take a lot of information that we have discovered and studied this year, and we're going to learn how to use an equation to solve for a missing piece. So y'all know that we've learned the volume formula, yes? So far I've taught you the volume formula for a cylinder is pi r squared h. We just talked about it. Y'all don't have to write this down. I just want to talk to you. So far this year, all I have taught you to do is solve for the volume, and they will provide you with the radius and the height. Do y'all agree? And then we plug it in our calculator, and it gives us a number, and that is the volume. But what I'm going to teach you today is that sometimes they're going to give you the volume, and they're going to give you like the radius and ask for the height. So it might look something like this. The volume of a cylinder is 1003. If the radius is 5 squared units, what's the height? And so that's what I'm here to teach you today. I'm going to say it again. So far this year, we've only filled in the pieces on one side and solved for the volume. Today, it might give you the volume and ask for the height. So what you're going to do is write the full formula down, just like I did here. Are everybody looking? I wrote the step for you. What's first step? Write the full formula down. The second step, plug in everything you know. Well, I knew the volume was 1003. I knew that you knew that the radius was 5, but we did not know the height. So I plugged in everything I know. The next step, call the missing piece x. So instead of calling it h, what am I going to call it? So I would rewrite it. 1003 equals pi times 5 squared times x. And then you're going to solve this like you would solve an equation in your calculator. The left side of the equal sign will go in, y1. The right side will go in, and I hit second trace, option 5. Wait for it to graph, enter, enter, enter. Does everybody remember how to do that? Now, when we solve equations in our calculator, what do we have to be able to see? Where are the two lines? Intersect. So I want you to check your windows real quick. So everybody go to your calculator and hit window. Mine is set very small, so if the answer is bigger than 10, I'm not going to see it. So what I want you to do is change it to something really, really big. Let's do negative 1,000, positive 1,000. I don't see everybody doing this. And then also change your y minimum to negative 1,000, positive 1,000. What that does is allows my calculator to solve any equation as long as the answer is between negative 1,000 and 1,000. If it still can't see it, can I zoom out even more? Maybe negative 2,000, positive 2,000. Yes. All right, so let's look at the first example. Everybody ready? The perimeter of the triangle shown is 7x units. The dimensions of the triangle are shown. So here's the base, here's the side links. Write an equation that can be used to find the value of x and then solve for it. Well, what is this whole problem talking about? So let's talk about how do you find the perimeter of anything at all the sides. So I'm going to write down side plus how many sides does a triangle have? So side plus side plus side has to be the perimeter. Now I'm going to plug in everything I know. Do I know this side? Yes or no? So 2x plus, do I know this side? I can't hear y'all. So what do I do? Plus 5. Do I know this side? Plus 5 has to equal the perimeter. Well, what was the perimeter? The perimeter is what? 7x. What I just did was made an equation that my calculator can now solve. This can go in y1 because it is the left side of the equal sign, and this can go in y2. So everybody take your calculator, go to y equals, and type in 2x plus 5, and on the right side type in 7x. Now what do I hit? Second trace, option. Wait for it to graph, because if you don't, you will freeze your calculator. We froze it, didn't we? Hit enter, 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 and your answer is when it says intersection. So what is the value of x? 2. Was that really hard? No, all I had to do was write out how to find perimeter. Any questions on that one? Yes or no? Okay, let's look at the next one. The volume of a cone. Will stop and go to what? Go to your star chart. And you have one in front of you if you filled out your warm-up. The volume of a cone. Go find the formula for volume of a cone and write it down. Volume equals, what does it equal? 1/3 pi r squared h. We are now going to fill in, and guys, if you need to look, write the full formula down. We did that. Plug in everything you know. Here we go. Did they give me the volume, the V? Yes, so I write 100.53 equals 1/3 is obviously 1/3. Pi is obviously, hello, pi, or you, if you want to put 3.14, you could, times, let's see, do we know the radius? So 4 squared times, do we know the height, or is that what it's asking me to find? So can I call that x, because it's my missing part? That is the height. I'm going to call it x because my calculator likes to see an x. Everybody good? Now that I have it written out, this side will go in y1. This side will go in y2. So I should see everybody typing this in. You can use your pi button. Notice for y2 I typed in 1/3 times pi times 4 squared times x. Yes? Now what do I hit? Second trace, option. Wait for it to graph. Enter, enter, enter. And what does it say to round to? Round to the nearest whole number. So what would 5.99 round to? What is the nearest whole number? It's almost 6. So the height is approximately 6 inches. And the reason you're going to get a decimal is because of pi. I want you to try the next example at the top on your own. Write the full formula down. This one right here. Go to your star chart and write the full formula down. I don't see everybody writing. follow the steps and write the formula down. Check and make sure you wrote the formula down like I did. Then check and make sure you filled it out correctly. Bless you. Okay, did everybody get this filled out correctly? Let me explain. The volume was 141.37. Pi is pi. R was 3. And I don't know the height, so I called it x. I'll put a dot instead of a multiplication sign. So that's times x, the variable x. So I put this in my calculator. I hit second trace option 5. Enter, enter, enter. We're also rounding to the nearest. So the x has a value of 4.999. What is that a whole number of? 5. So the height was 5 inches. I meant to put inches right there. I can't hear you. Why did I put a third here? Because it asked for volume of a cone. And what did it ask for right here? Cylinder. Does cylinder have a third in the formula? No, so that's why you got to make sure you're checking the formula. Good question. All right, the last one. Mr. Smith opened an account with a deposit of $6,000. The account earned simple interest. So what formula am I going to write down? I equals, I got that from right here. I equals PRT. So what would the 6,000 go in this formula for? The P. What would the 4 go in for? The what? The T. And then it says the account earned $720 in interest. So what would that go in for? That's the I. Then what is it asking for? What was the interest rate? They're asking for the R. So I'm going to plug in 720 for the I, 6,000 for the P. I don't know the R, and the T is 4. So what am I going to call the R if I don't know it? X. So I say 720 equals 6,000 times X times 4. I can now put this side in Y1 and this side in Y2. Second trace, option 5. Enter, enter, enter. What is my answer? 0. Is that a rate? Is that how they give rates in decimal form, or do they give it in percent form? Think about what we just learned. What is the rate always given in? Percent. So we take this, it is the answer, but we want to change it to a percent. How did we go from percent to decimal? We divided by 100. So to go from decimal to percent, instead of dividing by 100, I simply multiply by 100. So 0.03 times 100 is 3%. And that would have been the rate. All right, I'm going to pass out the assignment. I am going to help you set up a few of them. Okay, number 1 is just like the first example on your notes, so I'm not going to go over it. Number 2, let's talk about it. Number 2 says the perimeter of a rectangle. So you need to figure out, how do you find the perimeter of a rectangle? Y'all know, how do you find perimeter? Add all sides. Well, how many sides are there? So if this is 2x, what's this? If this is x plus 10, what's this? Okay, so if I want to find the perimeter of a rectangle, I have to add all 4 sides. So it would be this plus this plus this plus this has to equal the perimeter. Did they give you the perimeter? 74. So I would set up my equation. Now, the one that I really need to explain is number 3. Everybody stop what you're doing and look at number 3. The side lengths of a triangle and square are shown below. The perimeter of the triangle is equal to the what? Perimeter of the square. They just said the perimeter of the triangle is equal to the perimeter of the square. I didn't feel like writing the word triangle, so I drew a triangle. The perimeter of the triangle is equal to the perimeter of the square. Does that mean I can make an equation out of this? If there's an equal sign, you can make an equation. So let's talk about it. How do you find the perimeter of a triangle? Add all the sides. So how many sides are in a triangle? So side plus side plus side has to equal, how many sides does a square have? 4. Side plus side plus side plus side. This is the 3 sides of the triangle. This is the 4 sides of a square. Well, in a square, all sides are the, so if this is 3x, what's this? If this is 3x, this is also 3x, and if this is 3x, that's also 3x. So you're simply going to plug in this side for this side for this side for this, and then 3x plus 3x plus 3x plus 3x. And that's your equation that you type into your calculator. Make sense? Yes? The rest of it, I have done an example of every single one except number 10. So go to number 10 so I can explain. Number 10 says, the angles of the figure shown are, who can tell me what congruent means? It means they're equal. They are the same. So my equation is going to be this equals this. And I let my calculator do the work. Everybody good? All right, you're going to work on it. You can help each other. You have 2 teachers in here today, so you can grab somebody if you need help, and then I will have an answer key that we can get our stuff checked. Get busy.